If you're, G-deep in self-improvement, you already get this. Logging everything, calories, steps, code commits, it's necessary. Yeah, but it's not quite enough, is it? The real secret sauce, the thing that really speeds up progress, is turning those logs into actionable insights. Fast. It's like having a treasure map instead of just, well, a pile of data.
Exactly. And that's pretty much what we're doing today. We've got this really rich source material, a detailed week in review for week 44, 2025. This person tracks, everything. Subtle sleep pattern shifts, deep thoughts on creative work, even specific coding contributions. It's an amazing picture of a quantified life.
So we're basically giving you the shortcut. We're diving deep to pull out the most vital points, celebrate the big wins, but also flag those hidden risks, the ones that can trip you up. And maybe most importantly, find those surprising connections across different parts of life. Think of it as your guide to boosting your own performance, using someone else's intense tracking as the blueprint. Right, let's get straight into it, starting with the bedrock. Health and wellness. And this week, wow, it wasn't just okay. It hit some really big quantitative goals, especially sleep.
Oh, absolutely. The sleep progress is undeniable. The average hits 7.14 hours a night. Now, that might not sound huge, but going from 6.86 the week before, pushing past that 7-hour mark is a massive win physiologically.
Yeah. What really jumps out at me is the consistency. It wasn't just like one long sleep on Saturday. The sources show they hit that 6-hour minimum every single night, 7 for 7. That kind of stability, those solid minimums, that's where the benefits really start to add up,
And you see it straight away in the physical activity. The average daily steps, 9,255. That's phenomenal, coming up from 6,615 the week before. They smashed both the 6,000 and 8,000 step goals.
Hold on, though. 9,255. From 6,600, that's almost a 40% jump in volume in 1 week. Was that planned or just kind of a busy week accident?
Well, the notes suggest it was partly driven by wanting to move more, specifically these Nico runs, which, for listeners, that's their term for, like super slow, easy running, low heart rate. And they were actually wondering, did doing more of that slow running help improve the sleep duration?
I love that internal question. It means they're not just looking at numbers in isolation. They're actively looking for how things connect. And what about the mental side? Meditation.
Yeah, so they kept up the usual short sitting sessions, like half a minute here and there, but they also added walking meditation while, get this, raking leaves.
That's brilliant time stacking. Folding mindfulness into chores. Did it work? Did all that movement and raking actually change their mood?
It seems like it did. The overall mood was described as, stoic as usual, very understated, but the review specifically mentions an increased tranquility. And they directly link that calmer feeling to the higher physical activity. So for you, the listener, this is maybe the first big takeaway. Consistency in the physical stuff, sleep, steps, it buys you emotional resources.
Right. Physical effort creates mental space. Okay, but here's the pivot point, isn't it? We just cheered that massive jump to 9,255 steps. That's success. That's exactly how things can go wrong.
It really is. And this takes us right into the critical balancing act, spotting those overload risks. This is what a mature tracking system does. It celebrates success, but immediately sees the danger in that success.
Tell us why. Why is that big number, 9,255 steps, actually a red flag?
Because that kind of sudden increase in volume, that's exactly what the research and, frankly, this person's own past experience points to as the fast track to overuse injuries or flaring up old ones. Whether your goal is 5,000 steps or 15,000, it doesn't matter. The maturity is shown by how fast you hit the brakes when you overshoot. The focus shifted immediately. Safety and consistency over sheer volume.
Okay, so how are they adjusting? How do you maintain fitness without, breaking yourself?
The main thing is smart alternation. They're now strictly alternating between that slow Nico running and short, intense 6-minute HIIT workouts. That cross-training helps avoid repetitive strain, distributes the load.
But hang on, the running goal itself, 150 minutes weekly for that slow running, and they only hit 61. That's way short. Why back off that specific goal?
That's a great point. The initial aim might have been, say, 30, 60 minutes daily, but the system or the person using it recognized that big time blocks are tough to maintain consistently, especially with other things going on. So the new strategy, it's shifting to small, almost ridiculously consistent bursts, 10 minutes, 3 times a day. It's less about the total weekly time and more about building an unbreakable habit. Those little 10-minute chunks just lower the barrier to starting.
Makes sense. Less mental effort needed to just do it. Okay, let's switch gears a bit. Diet. Stability. The weight log shows a tiny gain, plus 0.25 kilograms, quarter of a kilo. from 68.70 to 68.95 kilograms.
Yeah, it's basically stable. Maintenance phase, definitely not a crisis, but it is flagged in the review as a potential warning sign. The note mentions possibly rather heavy dinners.
Now, quarter kilo, for many people, that's just noise, right? Huh. Is blaming heavy dinners maybe an overreaction, or is it more about reinforcing a known boundary?
It's definitely the latter. At this level, tracking isn't just about the scale number, it's optimizing sleep and energy. They noted fragmented sleep on 2 nights. And they know heavy evening meals are a huge disruptor for deep sleep because your digestion is working overtime. So the fix isn't diet harder, it's better boundaries.
Right. So what are the practical steps, the time box solutions for next week to protect that sleep they worked so hard for?
Okay, 2 key time boxes were put in place, non-negotiable. First, dinner is strictly between 6 p.m. and 8 p.m., and meals have to be light. That lets digestion wind down before bed. Second, any physically demanding chores, heavy gardening, big decluttering pushes have to happen before 8 p.m.
That's interesting, not just food, but controlling stimulation too. Why the 8 p.m. cutoff for physical stuff?
It's physiology, really. Intense activity, even cleaning, jacks up your heart rate, releases adrenaline, cortisol, the get stuff done hormones. If you do that right before trying to sleep, you're basically asking your body to slam the brakes from fight or flight straight into rest mode. It doesn't work well. So, push the stimulating stuff earlier, keep evenings for winding down.
And the underlying diet philosophy is still there, eating to 70% full, even with a specific meal ratio.
Yep, still focusing on that 2.1.1 plate, 2 parts veggies, 1 part protein, 1 part carbs. That's for nutrition and feeling satisfied. But that 70% fullness rule, that's the key constraint to stop those heavy dinners creeping back in accidentally. It really shows that health tracking is ultimately about managing your inputs, your behaviors, not just looking at the output numbers.
Absolutely. Okay, so moving from optimizing the body to optimizing the mind, projects and hobbies. This seems like where that increased tranquility really starts to pay off. You get mental space. What do you fill it with?
You see it immediately in the intellectual stuff. There was a lot of reflective writing this week, not necessarily project work, but processing thoughts. And that led to some really specific insights, particularly about gardening techniques and, interestingly, clarifying their taste in photography.
That reflective output, that's the mental bonus you get from physical consistency. What about the more practical side, like coding?
It was consistent, though maybe not every single day. They weren't building huge new features, but they were active. Submitting PRs, pull requests for anyone listening, which are often small but important maintenance tasks. Things like fixing typos, CI housekeeping, keeping the project's automated systems clean. They mentioned working on the Elixir 1119 release specifically. It's that crucial background work that keeps skills sharp without needing huge time blocks.
So small, distributed efforts, again, 10-minute runs, minor code fixes. It's a pattern. Now, physical projects. Gardening came back, which fits with the activity goals.
Yes, exactly. They got back to the slow, careful work of transplanting plants, clearing areas, patient effort, fitting around the time boxes. But, the system is honest. A couple of big things are still pending. Building a custom plant rack and a general decluttering push. Those are larger tasks. Clearly, the focus was on high-leverage activities first.
But the real discovery, the big aha this week, wasn't from sitting and planning, was it? It came from movement. The grocery run photo walks.
That's probably the most exciting bit in this whole review. Those walks weren't just about steps or buying food. They were active research, exploration. And that's what clarified their taste in photography. They moved beyond just liking photos to knowing what they want to shoot. Architectural, cityscape, landscape, street, maybe panoramic stuff.
That level of clarity is gold and tells you exactly what to do next.
So what are they researching now? Now the research is super targeted. What tools do you need for that style? Checking their phone's ultra-wide camera capabilities, looking at specific accessories like tripods, figuring out a budget. That aha moment, finding their aesthetic, came directly from combining movement, mindfulness, and observation during a tracked activity.
We should probably just quickly touch on the other maintenance things just for the full picture of workload balance.
Yeah.
Fish keeping. New guppies went into the outdoor ponds, but a specific rack is still pending. And home improvement curtains, a drawer, some grout work, those are still on the list, waiting.
Right. And it just underlines that perfection isn't the point here. Prioritization is. This person successfully prioritized health, creative discovery, and keeping skills ticking over rather than trying to finish every single chore.
Okay, so let's synthesize. What does this whole Week 44 deep dive mean for you, the listener, tracking your own stuff?
I think the core lesson is powerful. It's about synergy and system maturity. This week really showed how consistency in the small, sometimes hard things like hitting that 7-hour sleep average, doing those little 10-minute exercise bursts, creates that psychological buffer, that tranquility. And that is what fuels high-quality reflective work and discovery.
Totally agree. And the system hitting that peak performance, the 9,255 steps, but then immediately recognizing the injury risk and correcting, pulling back, alternating, that shows real maturity. It's about prioritizing safety and long-term endurance over just hitting a high score for 1 week.
Exactly. Your goal isn't just the peak, it's building a system that can sustain performance, endure.
Which brings us to our final thought, building right on this material. Given those really sharp insights from the reflective writing and that clear creative energy from the week's tranquility, is waiting until next year to start that big new writing project really the best move? Or should that momentum be seized, capitalized on now, before that precious mental space perhaps vanishes? Something for you to mull over as you plan your own optimal week 45.